Why has she been running the sink for so long? Her hands can't get that clean. The next day, the smell was rancid. It wasn't the odor of a typical bathroom. Did she say something about feeling sick? No. The next day, why is she running the sink again? I can hear it all the way from the room. My body shivered as I pressed my ear against the cold wooden hallway floor. I strained my eye to see past the small sliver of vision between the door and the ground. 2 kneecaps faced the toilet. The water drowned out all other sound. My goosebumps turned to sweat as my heart quickened pace. I didn't want to think about it. I walked back to the bedroom. The next day. Hey, how are you? How was your day today? I know that you've been making yourself throw up. Are you okay? She didn't cry. She shook, but she did not cry. She was unhappy with her body. In middle school, she was unhappy with her body. I was heartbroken. She doesn't want to throw up, but something in her mind tells her that she needs to. Bulimia, an eating disorder where one goes through periods of eating excessive amounts of food, followed by purge or forcibly throwing up. Bulimia, a disorder, not a choice. A different place, a different year, a different friend. I was sitting patiently in her room, lost in my own thoughts. Bored, I slid open her desk drawer. Why had she mutilated her razor blades like that? The plastic around the space for the blades was chiseled and all 3 blades were torn out. Why? I didn't want to think about it. I closed the drawer shut. She knows I know, but we don't talk about it. I know her inside out. I know her thoughts before she even knows them. But what scares me is that despite this familiarity, her own bedroom knows her better than I do. Her bedroom sees her during her brightest and darkest moments when I cannot. I'm used to seeing her tripping up the stairs and falling, laughing at herself, dancing in the mirror, not caring about a single thing that other people think. She is confident, but her view of herself through her own eyes is impaired. It is deep down where no one can see, and sometimes she can't even see it herself. People inflict self-injury in the form of cutting, usually the wrists, lower abdomen, inner thighs, or ankles, in order to control actions, relieve emotional pain, or even to simply feel something. There are many reasons, hers being to control her unwanted habits. These 2 friends know me just as well as I know them. We are as comfortable around each other as friends can be, making supporting them much easier. These 2 experiences might not seem like they would have a huge effect on me, but they have. Part of myself was founded from pushing through these troubles alongside my haunted friends. I learned how to listen, by not just sitting there with open ears, hearing what is being said, but understanding and responding to what is being said. Exchanging empathy and sharing sympathy. I learned how to give advice. If any of you have ever asked for advice from me, you know that I say exactly what I think. I'm brutally honest almost all of the time, and I spare little feelings, which can be good and bad. But I have a strong sense of reality when it comes to other people. A lot of the time, I'm sure of it, my friends might not want to hear what I have to think about a situation that they might be in. I know this by the faces that they sometimes make or the things that they would sometimes say after I offer my own input. You really think that, Grace? Yes, I do. I wouldn't lie, and I didn't lie. I told both of these girls that they were beautiful because they are. I told them that what they were doing was brutal, not only to themselves, but to their families and friends. That they were being selfish. That I know their issues were deeply rooted and not by choice, but that they needed help and that I was willing to help. I was willing to show them how wrong they were. I'm brutally honest now because something that helped these two girls get through that layer of hell that they were living in was my truthfulness. Lying can dampen wounds, make them feel temporarily relieved, but it cannot heal them, because with that there flows more blood. Honesty can cut deeper into the scar, but it will eventually heal. From this truth comes responsibility. Responsibility to do what is best and to stand up for something when it just doesn't seem right. I learned to stand up for myself and those around me. None of us have the power to control everything in our own lives. And getting help from others when you cannot find the strength to help yourself is important. But what is more important is to have the strength somewhere inside of you to help yourself. When my friends doubted themselves, I would step in and stick up for them to give them some sort of confidence, a confidence that they clearly lacked. They could not stand up for themselves, and that is what I was there for. I fought for these girls against their own dark passengers. I was fighting for them while also fighting against them. It was strange having the right and the wrong be the same. At times, I had small panic attacks because I shouldn't have had any authority to help them, but there I was. Watching these two girls who were incapable of defending themselves was depressing. They looked dejected and defeated, something that I would never wish upon anyone. But eventually, both of them found strength. I found strength. So now, if I ever hear anything that unsettles my stomach, I say something, and I do not shy away. I have a voice, and I choose to use it. You all have voices too, and what you do with yours is entirely up to you. My friends taught me a lot through their experiences. Sincerity, dependability, embarrassment. Their thoughts taught me how to be self-conscious. I was never aware that other people might view something that I do or something about me as a flaw until my friend showed me their sad realities. I was on top of the world for a long time. I did gymnastics for 3 to 4 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week for 10 years straight. I loved the sport and was in crazy good shape, as you might imagine. I could do a lot of skills that my peers couldn't, and I was proud. I breathed the chalk that you smack on your hands before grabbing the uneven bars. My body could contort in ways that do not seem humanly viable. But from overuse, I badly fractured my L3 vertebrae in 7th grade. I had to wear a back brace for 23 hours a day and a bone growth stimulator for 2 hours a day. I was out of gymnastics for a total of 9 months. My body lost muscle mass, needless to say, as I went from intense cardio workout multiple hours a day to practically nothing except going to my physical therapist toward the end of my recovery. This was when I began to see the flaws in my body and myself. But I didn't pay it much mind because I was determined to get back to the sport. I returned in 8th grade and quit before 9th because I was going on to attend a boarding school. Quitting gymnastics hit me hard. It brought me a lot of doubts about how strong I actually was. Before, I had proof through the amount of pull-ups that I could do on a bar, or from how high I could push my body off of the floor by just using the force exerted by my palms. Without gymnastics, a huge part of myself and my identity was lost. I was confused about who I was. I was immediately repulsed when I looked into the mirror. But remembering how lost my friends felt and how they turned to unhealthy habits because of their insecurities helped me to realize that I did not want to continue down that same path. I can never get the image of my friend kneeling before the toilet out of my head. I only saw her legs from underneath the door, but the rest of the lines aren't hard to fill in. It was shame and vulnerability that she was defeated by. Shame is an awful feeling. It's worse than when your mom says she isn't mad at you, but disappointed. It exhausts your mentality. Whether we like it or not, our perception is polluted by poisons. These poisons surround us and consume us consciously and subconsciously, and they make us think unclearly. We are all affected by the people surrounding us, and sometimes it's really hard to praise yourself. On the other hand, it's extremely easy to taint your mind with negative thoughts. But we all only have one mind and one body to last a whole lifetime, so why treat yourself badly? To be confident, you need to have self-approval. We need to be comfortable with what we were born with because that's all we have. I believe that we should be able to explain why we are the way we are, because that is when we truly know ourselves. I am getting to know myself, and I know some of the reasons for why I act the way I act, why I have the dreams that swallow my mind, and why I show love toward others the way in which I do. They are all because of the psychological tests that I have been through and the experiences that I have shared with others, whether they be good or bad. I have bad days when I cannot seem to find a single constructive thought to think to myself, but I am still working on my confidence because it's hard to master that. We all just need to be the best that we can be, because that's the least that we can do for ourselves, for our sanity. These girls learn to love themselves. It's difficult to decipher your own thoughts from thoughts that others put inside of your head. And we need to learn to stay in our own heads and know ourselves. These girls learn to stay focused. Find the silver lining in any and all situations and learn to use it to your advantage, because that is when your strengths are able to lead you to the right path. Both of my friends are in great places right now for themselves because they started living for themselves. And I am just as proud of myself as I am of these two girls. Thank you.